let's pull up some of the more of the videos, then we'll get that super chat. I think we just watch all the videos, maybe, and then, yeah, go ahead.
Going 50-50 with a man is not equal. We live in a culture and a society that benefits men, specifically when it comes to finances. There's so much more opportunity and it's so much easier for a man than a woman. Women are at a huge disadvantage, and even still, women thrive in a man's world. Given the obstacles that women have to overcome that men have probably no idea that we even do, paying for a date that he initiated is one, hot, and two, the least he could do.
Okay. Quite a few things there. So are you talking about the patriarchy?
In what?
Well, in that clip. You said it's a man's world, I think.
Yes.
You said it's easier for men, women are disadvantaged, and that women face obstacles.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, one, do you think that there's a patriarchy?
Yes.
Okay.
What does that mean?
That men hold greater power than women.
How so?
How do men hold greater power than women?
Yeah.
Well, in this video, I was specifically talking about the working world. I think in the working world, it's like the structure of the workforce is built for men, typically.
How so? I mean, don't more women have college degrees? Aren't more women college educated?
Yeah, I think the rates are, when it comes to getting college degrees, college admission, actually attending college, I think it's like 60-40.
Wow, that's a huge advantage that women have. So how does the workforce benefit men more?
Is it college education that we're talking about, or is it earning power?
Well, since 1980...
I'm not talking about college
Well, just really
education.
quick on college, since you brought it up. Ever since 1980, I think it starts 1979, there have been more women going to college, graduating from college, getting college degrees. So that's a more than 40-year period. So women who graduated college in 1980 are now basically reaching retirement age. So we've had basically a whole career span of women who, in that time period, were graduating at higher rates than men were from university.
Cool.
Yeah.
So how is the workforce more beneficial towards men? You said earning power. Can you provide evidence for that?
Yeah, I think, with a lot of the more standard, tried and true, I'd suppose high earning positions, like men.
Such as?
Doctors, lawyers, I don't know. I'm kind of drawing
What's the
blank.
percentage between men and women in those professions?
I don't know all of the stats. I'm not here to bring you stats, but do you think, are there more? Do you guys have stats about the opposite? Truly curious.
I'm curious because you're making a claim, but I'm wondering if you have
a counterclaim?
I'm wondering if you have, you made a claim, and
yeah.
In a court of law, for example, if you present a claim, you have to provide evidence for it.
I'm not in a court of law.
No, you're not. But
chatting in a podcast.
You're having a conversation, and I'm saying, do you have any evidence for your claims?
I've read stuff before. Do I have it up right now? No.
I don't think we need stats.
Do we need stats?
Well, I'm saying if you just walk into a hospital, who are you going to see primarily as nurses and women, right? So women are outperforming men. I don't have stats either, but nowadays he's right, outperforming as in college and getting education to where they can get a job like that. They're outperforming men nowadays.
But I mean, relating it back to your original thing, you want men to pay for the first date.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like you cannot, on one hand, demand, first off, women are paid equally. That's already been legislated back in I think that was in the 60s. So it's actually, if you as a woman can prove in a court of law that there are men with the exact same seniority in your company, if you can prove and show that he's getting paid more for the exact same work, you can actually bring a lawsuit for discrimination. Mm-hmm. So we've already legislated that. It's illegal to pay women less than men for the same work. So,
I mean, she's 23 and making six figures. Why don't other women do that?
Because they're not interested in studying that.
Oh, so that's not a disadvantage.
Choice.
That's a choice.
So it's choice.
Yeah.
Because also at the same time, if you wanted to become a welder, you could go learn it, and within a year and a half, 2 years, you could be making six figures. Why don't more women do that? Where's the disadvantage?
Well, I think the thing is with that is that feminists, when it comes to equal opportunity and equal pay, you only want to secure the cushy, comfortable, high-paying, air-conditioned office jobs. You don't want equality when it comes to, for example, dangerous jobs that happen to pay well, or just physically laborious jobs like...
I think we should ask someone with experience. Like, would you say, have you ever experienced more obstacles getting to your career, or like men being given more benefits in the workplace than you?
For me, I don't think so, but I don't have that much experience, I guess. I just started working like a year ago. But I also know that, at least in my company, we recently have this like internship program, and it's only like females in tech program, so I feel like we're trying to get more females in here, so I don't think it would be unfair.
Now, if there was something else, like some sort of male-only opportunity, that would be, feminists would be screaming at their top of their lungs how.
So you're making the claim that women are disadvantaged in the workforce and that they don't have the same earning opportunities that men do. This is a breakdown of many of the blue-collar jobs throughout society on my phone right here. This is a breakdown of many of the blue-collar jobs throughout society with what percentage of each of those jobs are worked by men. Will you go ahead and read the first 10 statistics off of this, please? Just read them into your microphone.
Roofer 90%, logger 93, veteran 90, plumber 97, mechanic 92, carpenter 92, coal miner 94, firefighter 95, ironworker 92.
So those are like well-paying, decent-paying blue-collar jobs that are completely... Yeah, you don't want any of those jobs, but you could have any of those jobs as a woman. Why? I mean, I don't understand. It's like I'm hearing like, hey, you know, us women are disadvantaged, but you just told me I don't want any of those well-paying jobs. Is it disadvantage, or is it that you just don't want the jobs?
No, feminism can only exist when there's air-conditioned, comfortable office jobs that don't require physically laborious work.
So true.
Wait,
it's
but
not true.
computer science...
It's true. Women don't want...
You're speaking on behalf of people that you are. You know what I mean? It's like me saying men this. Like, I'm not a man.
Okay,
she just said she doesn't want any of these jobs.
Well, that's her. You know what I mean? Like, there are some women that I'm sure have those jobs. You can't generalize a whole gender.
There are some.
Well,
I mean, for example, plumbers, 3% of women are plumbers. Or 3% of plumbers are women.
Yeah.
Sure.
They're not 100% for a reason. So women do have the equal opportunity to pursue every one of those jobs. So I don't think we have an inequality at any point. I mean, if you want to talk about value, like inequality in value, I don't think it's the same. But
I think the question that you need to ask yourself when it comes to the wage gap, this career stuff, it's not whether it exists, but why it exists. And at least my view is, the answer is not sexism. There's many reasons, I think, for the earnings gap. And I would say a big one is women's own choices. Women choose to go into certain careers, certain fields. Same with like what they study in university. Women choose to go into disciplines that happen to pay less. So,
which is okay. That's fine.
Can you give like an example?
Of what?
Like that specific example.
Women choosing not to go into certain
choosing
careers?
a career that pays less. Like, give an example, I guess.
Okay, so who here wants to be an iron worker?
We have some infographics on it, but
like who wants to be an iron worker or welder
Nick,
at this
pull
table?
up the
Who would be
infographics
interested
folder.
in making six figures doing
Not
one of those
me.
jobs?
I would, but it's a little dangerous.
It's quite dangerous.
Yeah.
It's quite dangerous. Would you want to do that?
No.
Would you want to do that?
No.
Would you want to do that?
I might if the check is right.
Okay, so yeah, you're making six figures. You might be one of that, like part of the 5%.
Yeah.
Most women wouldn't want to do that, and so it's like, okay, you have these blue collar jobs that pay, I don't know what ironworking pays, but like welding, for example, it's a dangerous job. But it's not because of sexism that women aren't making the same money in those careers. It's because you guys just don't want them.
I think that the disadvantage is partly because, like, being a woman, I mean, again, there's a variety of women, but maybe like a good like chunk of us, like, we're not made to do those things. Like, I know that I'm not supposed to do any of those things. Like, so in a way, I guess I technically can do those things, but I'm not made for those kinds of work. So because I'm kind of made for different kinds of work, I'm like, technically yes I can, but I'm not going to make that kind of money. So if a man asks me out on a date and his biology is more built to have a higher earning job, then when we go on a date, I would just expect him to take care of the date because I'm not made for those kinds of jobs.
And feminism says women can do everything a man can do, and they can do it better. You're telling me as a self-professed feminist, I'm not made to do those
jobs. Are we able to pull up the definition of feminism?
I think feminism has many.
There's many different
kinds.
But if you look it up, I'm curious of what the main one comes up as.
Yeah, well, I don't agree with that kind of feminism. I will say.
That's fine. That's fair. And we can debate the definition of feminism, but to go back to one of the original points that you made, you said that doctors and lawyers, men get paid more in those industries, and I would agree with what you're saying, that you are not made for the same type of work that men are. I would say our natures are different as human beings.
Yes.
Like I as a man am geared towards different work than a woman is.
Yes.
That's not a bad thing.
No, it is not.
It is going to create inequality though, because for example, you mentioned lawyers. There's many more high-paid lawyers that are men than there are women, I'm sure. Part of that is because if you want to become a highly paid lawyer as a woman, like you're going to have to frickin' grind your butt off through your 20s and your 30s. Yeah,
I'm not meant to do that.
Exactly. And so, but that proves my point. The difference isn't because it's a man's world and it's sexism that's disadvantaging women. It's because you don't want to work through your 20s and 30s grinding at a 100-hour per week job as a lawyer. So it's not sexism that creates the disparity. It's women just don't want to do it.
But I have a question.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
What's your question? Go ahead.
I was wondering why you or any other woman, I guess, don't really go to computer science more often, because I feel like as a tech job, I sit at the office if I go to the office, and we have AC and it's all comfortable and stuff, and we also make good money. So why don't you do that?
I wish my brain was built like that. I just am not like that personally. And I do think that more women can do things like that, and I think that it's typically thought of as a male job, and a lot of girls just maybe aren't really thinking about that. Maybe they think about being a homemaker or a therapist or whatever. But yeah, I think that there should be, or not should, but there's a lot of opportunity there for women.
I think most feminists would rather just complain about the wage gap than actually take jobs they don't want.
When you said just now about how if a woman wants to be a really high paying, on top of her game lawyer, she's gonna have to really bust her ass. But do you think she has to bust her ass more than a man who has the same desire, or the equal amount?
She might have to bust her butt more than a man. Because law, for example, well, I'll use my own career as an example. So I've been doing brand consulting with a company, and one of our chief executive officers is a female. And in her industry, she works in finance, basically drafts financial agreements, pitches super high-powered billionaires regularly, right? She's the only woman that does it in her industry. There's maybe one or two others that are at the level that she's at, and it's not because of sexism. It's because she has to bring really strong masculine energy to the table, and people will take her seriously when she does it. She's a professional ball buster. She's a badass, but she has an energy that's much more aggressive than most men have, and because of that, men take her seriously. I know maybe two women that could bring that same energy to the table and be taken seriously by men. And it's just women they're typically not wired in that way. Whereas so with something like law, it's not necessarily because of sexism that there's not as many high-performing female lawyers. It's a very aggressive job.
For sure.
It's a super aggressive job.
But I do think what you just said does support the feminist argument that a woman does have to be a little bit more stepped into her masculinity in order to be respected. Why can't she be feminine but also a lawyer and still have her word be respected? I can say something in a way that's maybe more sweet, but they're gonna be oh my god, this girl.
It's a lawyer is not meant to be feminine. They're meant to be cutthroat.
Right,
Exactly.
but I naturally am just a feminine talking girl. So why do I have to put on more of a masculine character in order to be respected, though? And that's the feminist argument. Is I should be able to be me and have the same knowledge and education as you, and be able to speak the way I'm speaking without having to be an absolute vicious beast about it in order to get my word across.
I hear what you're saying. It's not the result of sexism. for example, for me doing business, like I have to aggressively negotiate with people when I'm doing business.
For sure.
And if I wanted to just like approach it from like a soft, lackadaisical perspective,
Yeah, that's not good.
Nobody
Yeah.
would take me
No,
seriously.
for sure.
And it's not, it has nothing to do with my sex. It's just the energy that you're bringing to the table. Like,
But
if I'm looking at a lawyer, let me put it like this. If I'm looking for a lawyer, let's say we have two people. One's a man, one's a woman. The man is kind of like effeminate and soft, and he's not particularly aggressive. The female is a total ball buster, and she's very aggressive. I'm going to hire her most likely rather than the soft, effeminate man because she's going to do the job better.
She has masculine energy.
But
she
I
has
think,
masculine energy.
But again, you're speaking from your perspective, and I think there are some people in the world that no matter what, they might still look at the woman, especially depending on how she looks, or even she'll have to maybe even be more self-conscious of what she's wearing just to even extra be taken more seriously, like especially when you look at women in politics, when you look at female lawyers, and in order to be respected, like you're saying, like they really are super tough. They have to, you know, be.
It's a tough world.
Yeah, it is for sure. And I definitely, but I also agree, right? Like a man being kind of wishy-washy, like you don't want that either. You want a man who's also very firm and just equally speaking his mind in that way. But I do feel like because a woman is a woman, I feel like they're, like you said earlier, like a couple minutes ago, you said she might have to work harder than a man.
Yeah, she might have to work against her nature. I mean, let me ask you this. Let's say you're going into a big lawsuit over some music stuff. Maybe somebody stole your music. You have to sue somebody for $500,000. You got two people. One's an aggressive man. The other's a soft, feminine, soft-spoken woman who's not particularly aggressive. You need to hire a lawyer. Which of those two individuals are you going to hire?
Definitely the aggressor.
Exactly.
For sure.
And that's not a result of sexism. It's just because you want the person who's going to get the job done best.
Right.
And that has nothing to do with sexism.
For sure. But I do think women do have to put on somewhat more of a hat in order to
you have to defy your own nature.
And just like, and define social norms and like stereotypical things.
Feminism says we need to change that. We need to change the fact that women need to adopt a different nature to succeed. That's what feminism says.
I don't think that, but I do think there is an initial assumption a lot of people in the world make if they see one person versus another. Just bare bone,
everybody comes to conclusions.
Because I do agree, like in order to be a lawyer, you do have to be very tough. You have to be speaking with very strong will. Obviously, you want that, but at the same time, there are a lot of people that, regardless of the woman still doing that, they're still going to view her a certain way.
It's just human nature.
But it's like,
yeah, it's
human
not,
nature.
Yeah, it's not like mean or like like you're discriminating against somebody. It's just like you said, you're working against your nature, so you're working harder to make yourself more respected. But like if you get a police officer and he's acting all feminine and just like, oh, no one's gonna respect someone like that. Or like a lawyer, if you walk into a courtroom and they're just kind of going around being all feminine, like you're gonna lose, and you know you're gonna lose that trial. Like,
but
you know
I'm saying like for a woman who's not acting like that though.
But
like there are still people
feminine,
who are still.
we know, yeah, but to act cutthroat and aggressive and strong like that is a masculine trait. So to be feminine and to do that, you're going against your biology and you're taking on more masculine traits.
I think she's saying even with a woman who has that masculine energy, some people still won't take her seriously. And yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, there's just natural biological sexism that exists between both sexes.
For sure.
I'm going to let a couple of these chats come through. Got a couple notifications coming. We have Carla.
Carla Catherine Gillerains, we donated $99. This new generation of women are ruining our chances with real traditional men, which are becoming a dying breed. Christ is Lord. I wish more men think like Chase.
Christ is Lord, amen. Also, thank you for the compliment, Carla.
Thank you, appreciate it, Carla. We have another one coming in here in just a second. Just a second. We got Grid One Motorsports. Yeah, these are going to linger. Okay, we got Trevor Brown. Thank you for the membership, man.
Grid One Motorsports donated $100. Cheek copy Kiko, do you think before you speak? Can a man sell pictures of his thumper on and pull 6 digits a month?
It's true.
Can a man walk into human resources department and get hired simply because he is a man?
Affirmative action.
If you do not know the answer, please learn.
Shots fired.
Okay, Grid One Motorsports. All right.
Can I say something?
There's another.
Okay.
make it. You got.
Do you know the lumberjack on Instagram that makes like millions of dollars?
Thorin?
Just
the guy who just smashes.
Yeah,
I love that guy.
Exactly, and he's like super famous just from cutting wood based off of his physique and his.
He doesn't
looks,
make millions of dollars.
Is he coming on the show?
I invited. Do you know who I'm talking about? The guy who like who's got the sleeve and he
he cuts wood.
Leo, I'll pull that up again in a sec.
Donated $99.
Yo, thank you, Cam.
This is a man's world as it was built by men. The competition in the world also makes a man's success very difficult.
Yep.
So that man buying you that Nobu is also a champion amongst men.
Yep.
That's why he is so successful. Men pay their dues. Do you on the right?
Yeah, but who gave birth to you?
And why can't you say women don't pay their dues and women can't work as... I'm so confused as to why we can't also equally be working hard for a career.
Modest Hikima donated $101. When CS grad stats are 85% men, 15% women, and the workforce reflects this as 60-40, you are statistically hiring less qualified women, basic math. Ask Jackie, she was wrecked to take stats. If all women did STEM, maybe would be problem. Reality is, they don't.
Men and women pursue different things and have different interests.
Bro, is he saying that 85% of grads are men and 15% are women, but it's 60-40
as a man is not conducive to roles like being a grade school teacher, nurse, caretaker, etc. This is also why employers are more inclined to hire women for these roles over men. Men are often discriminated against for these.
Is it discrimination for a woman to prefer a female OBGYN or like a female to do her Brazilian wax?
Well, would a guy want
personal?
Would a guy want a girl to do his?
I think it's valid.
His check. Would you rather have a guy or a girl do that?
Check my junk.
Do what?
Check your.
Here.
Are you talking about like a prostate exam?
Prostate. Yeah. Would you want a guy or a girl to check your prostate? Be honest.
I just prefer not to get my prostate checked, to be honest.
But you should.
Well, that's not bad.
But just be honest. What do you?
I mean,
isn't it? Don't they just put?
I don't care personally.
Come on, straight
I'm just
answer.
gonna get it done.
I don't care, honestly. I don't think I would care. I wouldn't care.
I mean, if she was super hot, I'd be like,
All right, we have Leo here. Boomers had second wave feminism, don't need a man. Gen X had it in their whole lives. Millennials got third wave, men are evil / source of my problems at a young age. How on earth could you think society favors men? Only men 70 to 80 plus lived during a patriarchy. Word.
Yeah, I would. On that note, I would actually argue that we live in an often female-dominated world. Like almost all of my teachers growing up were women, and man, did they make sure all the boys stayed in line. Then throughout high school, almost all of my teachers were female, and then in college, I would say probably 70% of my teachers were female. Like, it's not exactly what I would call a patriarchy.
It is
that's
interesting.
Well, that's your specific experience, because I don't know what statistically that is, because I had an opposite experience.
Most of your teachers growing up were men?
Yeah. From junior high on, mine were men.
Interesting. I mean, I had almost all male teachers in junior high, and it was freaking awesome.
And that doesn't mean just because your teachers are a certain gender, mean the whole world is female dominated because of that one workforce.
Are paid like shit.
Yeah, I was just thinking that they paid horribly.
And there's always teacher strikes and
I know none of those women want to go do the tough blue collar jobs. There's just sexism, they're so disadvantaged.
All right, we have WinPC99, girl on the far right. If you believe in equality, what is more equal than splitting the bill on a date?
Is that to me?
Yeah.
Oh my God, honestly, this question is boring. But again, like I said, women don't. It's not the money that I bring to a relationship that's valuable.
And if he asked a woman on a date, then
but we're in. And I don't know if it was
First
more
of all,
so
this is
you.
a YouTube channel, so it's not that much better than a
I'm giving you a hard
TikTok.
time.
Okay. I would say YouTube though, just to.
No, YouTube is more profitable for sure.
Well, it's not even about profitable. I think it's more. There's a greater degree of effort that typically goes into a YouTube video than a TikTok video.
For sure.
In any case,
I was thinking about that earlier. I was thinking to myself about the fact that you have worked so hard to set up this entire facility and like build this channel and do everything, and there's so few women in comparison that are building really successful YouTube channels like this. Why is that? Is it because of sexism or women just don't
What are the stats on that?
I feel like there are a lot of YouTube channels that are run.
Yeah, do you have some stats?
There are a lot of YouTube channels that are run
and podcasts.
by women, but when I'm thinking about like successful podcasts and YouTube channels,
there's a lot.
By large, the majority of the ones that I see going viral across the internet are typically run by men. Maybe
what are the stats
maybe
on that?
maybe that's just my algorithm, though.
I think it's
that's
might just be my
your
algorithm.
algorithm.
I feel like it's pretty even from my.
I see tons
view.
of successful women on YouTube.
Do you think it's
because that's
harder
my algorithm?
Do I think it's harder?
for women to be successful as a YouTuber than a man?
Okay, unrelated to dating. I'm just sorry. I gotta
don't.
cut that off. Okay, Jackie mentioned females in tech internship at her company. Does this mean I can have a males in tech internship and that is all fine and dandy, or is that somehow sexism and the reverse is not?
Well, I don't think you can have males in tech internship just because our company is like, I don't know, if you go to the elevator, there's like 8 guys and 2 girls. But I think that's also unfair. So.
Okay.
You think it'd be unfair? Wait, you think it's unfair that there's 8 guys and 2 girls?
No, I think it's unfair that there is only females in tech. I think it should just be like both genders.
Okay.
I think a lot of women just don't want the job.
Well, I think they're trying to push more women into it, though, because like you're saying, like if we want equality, that means we do want women to be more in jobs, like you're saying, that are higher paying. And so things like females in tech or whatever it was called is their way, I think, of trying to get more women into the field so that can happen.
Yeah, it's basic affirmative action.
Go ahead.
Are you finished with that?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm like, this is like a genuine, like, curious. I'm like just genuinely like wondering this and like wondering what everybody's viewpoint of this is. Because obviously, like, I understand what you guys are saying, and like we have different perspectives, and I think we need your perspective, like, and you need our perspective. Honestly, like, we need each other to like really get to the truth, because I might have an extreme view to you, and you have an extreme view to me, but we need each other because the truth is probably somewhere in the middle, in my opinion.
That's a fallacious argument, but
in my
go ahead.
opinion. And so I guess I'm just wondering, because I do see like the lawyer and the doctor agreement and like the whole like jobs are more aggressive. That's why I don't want them, because I don't want to be in my masculine. I want to be in my feminine. And I am drawn to more positions that tap into my feminine. Mm-hmm. But I guess I kind of wonder if the structure of law from the beginning had more feminine energy, it was more balanced, it wasn't so aggressive, would there be more space for women? And is that what women are fighting for? Not to be in a man's world, but to make the nature of the job more feminine somehow. I don't know.
The nature of the job
I don't know.
more feminine.
Yeah, because the way that it is right now.
What does that mean for a job to be more feminine?
So, for instance, let's just take business as like
sure,
just general business.
What is the primary goal of business?
To make money.
Okay.
So, for instance, like, for me, when I was like, oh, to have a business, I have to network. Oh, I have to do marketing. I have to do sales. Like, all that stuff, I'm like, it sounds like I have to be all aggressive and shit. I don't really want to be in that vibe. But when I realign my thinking of what marketing is, I'm like, oh, marketing for me can be me being deeply myself and sharing who I am. And then when I think about sales is just solving people's problems, right? And so for me, I don't like thinking about it as sales, but if I think about it as empathy, if I think about it as, oh, you have a problem that I know how to solve, and like I'm empathetic towards you, that's feminine, that's a feminine energy. When I think about it like that, I'm more drawn to sales. I'm more drawn to networking. If networking is building a community of people who support me, if I think about it in a more feminine way, I'm more drawn to business like that. I'm just saying, is there space for feminine energy in a masculine world, when in the masculine workforce?
No.
And why? Why is that the case?
A resounding no.
I mean, that's your opinion. So, I mean.
No, look, I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything.
No, for sure. This is a discussion.
Goes back to what I said like 30 minutes ago. The feminist perspective seeks to restructure reality itself.
Restructure what is at this moment.
What has been and will always be.
How do we know what will always be?
I mean, you can look at the pattern of the last 5,000, 6,000 years.
We've changed though, no?
Yeah, we have, and a lot of those changes
so
have been bad. Here's the thing. Allow me to answer your question, okay?
Yeah.
Law. Can we restructure the structure of law in order to make it more feminine?
Mm-hmm.
What are two lawyers doing? In a court of law, two lawyers fighting against one another, what are they doing?
Trying to prove their client innocent.
Well, let's only linger on this because I feel like we've already dedicated nearly an hour and a half on this. Let's try to...
I'm going to wrap it up quick. Business, law, medicine, all of the sales, for example, these are industries where you have to win. You have to win. It's not about like teaching, for example. I had female teachers that were very good with empathizing with the students. That's an important, just built into the structure of the job. That feminine energy is important. Law, you are working to win for your client. Business, you are working to win. Sales, yes, empathy is important, but salesmen, the most successful salesmen, are the most aggressive at the job. They're working hard at it. I know a lot of salesmen, they work freaking hard at their jobs. That's not one where you're just like feeling and like, just in your feminine energy. It's like you have to work hard and follow up and like constantly follow up in order to hit your goals and your quotas and so on and so forth. It's masculine energy, and the world is a competitive place. And in order to succeed in a competitive world, you have to bring the masculine energy to the table. Mm-hmm. It will always be like that.
So why do you think that like feminine jobs aren't highly paid? Is it just because it's not like as needed of a skill?
There's supermodels that make like millions of dollars. There's singers, dancers that make millions of dollars. You're talking about very masculine jobs that are male dominated because you have to bring masculine energy.
Well, it's also a question of scale too. Like a software engineer, for example, you can create a product that has scale that can reach thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people. So there's more opportunity to make money. Whereas if you're like a nurse or a caregiver, there's only so many patients, for example, that you can see in a day. So you can't really scale that.
And also human beings, you were talking about hormones before. As a woman, like you have, especially at different parts of your cycle, you have feminine energy that you feel, Human beings are wired temperamentally on a biological level to be drawn towards certain things. One of the reasons why STEM is a male-dominated field is because a lot of women just aren't interested in it. We're never going to change that. It's the nature of reality. You can't change the nature of reality. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And we have 2 more videos from you, but we'll maybe get into them a little bit later on.